lot of people think that Google Slides is just for building presentations, and it's just not true. There's a lot of things you can do with this, including building these sales sheets and building these pieces of marketing collateral. And it's a super handy tool when you're just getting started and you want a lot of flexibility in what you're designing. So to get started, you need to have G Suite. You need to have the ability to log in and pull up Google Slides. Once you're in your email account, in the top right corner, there's a square with a bunch of other little squares inside of that. If you click that little icon, it's right to the left of your account icon. If you click the square with a bunch of other little squares inside of it, it'll pop down a list of tons of different Google products that they have. Go ahead and click the yellow icon that says Slides, and you'll see the screen that you now see on my screen now. And that's just how you can get into Slides and start playing around with it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to title our piece of sales collateral. So we're just going to keep it simple and title it sales collateral. There we go, sales collateral. And that's the title. It's in the top left corner. So now that we have our title up there in the top left corner, we're going to get our page set up. So we don't need this click to add title portion, so you can select that and delete it. We don't need this click to add subtitle portion, so we can go ahead and click and delete it. The themes on the right hand side here, we're not going to need either, so you can click the X in the top right corner, get rid of those. And now we're going to go over here to the top left corner and click File. Then we're going to come down here to Page Setup, and it's going to ask us if we want standard, widescreen, or another widescreen option. We're actually going to go with custom. And for the custom, we want it to be 8.5 by 11 inches, which makes it the same size as a piece of printer paper, which is what we're going for. So now that we have our page set up, we're going to want to think about a couple different things. We're going to want to consider how we want to lay out the page, how much white space we have, what are our most valuable propositions that we want to get across, and then what do we kind of want the wrap up to be? What do we want our footer to look like? So for this particular example, we want kind of a flashy, nice, clean image look on the header. We want a little bit of a one statement, like a power statement about the brand right to the right of it. And then we're going to probably put some value props in right below that, and then probably something else about the business. But let's just dive in and get started. So to make our header, there's a bunch of different things that you can do. So if you go over to the quick action bar on the top part of your screen and click shape, you can pick a shape. For a lot of headers, you can just keep it simple. If you select the rectangle and drag it across like this, and let's just say you want to make it a blue header. You can do something simple like that. You can move it up to the top. That's a pretty simple header. You could put text inside of it. You could add an icon over to the right hand side. You could do a lot of different things with this. That's just how you can make a really simple header. And for example, if you wanted to put some text in that header, put in here like, this is the header. Just for example's sake, just change the font. So we could add a really simple header in here if we wanted to, and leave it like that. But we're actually going to do something a little bit different. But this is an option if you're trying to do something quick and you want to keep it simple. It's a quick and easy way to put a nice professional header on your sales sheet. But like I said, we're going to do something a little different. So I'm actually going to delete both of these, and we can get started on the header that we want. So now getting started with the header that we're actually going to target for this, we're going to go back up to shape and we're going to do a rectangle. And we're going to start about right here on the top part of the screen, and we're going to drag it over about 1/3 of the way on the screen. And for right now, we're not going to worry about the color of the rectangle. We'll come back and we'll edit that later. And so now that we have this in here, we're going to select it. We're going to go with Control C and then Control V. It'll duplicate the exact same rectangle. That's the exact same size, exact same color, exact same everything. So we want to take that one, and we want to find a place where it looks pretty good, and then we want to drag it across the screen. Actually, we don't want to make it go all the way. Change my mind. So we want it right there. Perfect. So this first rectangle that we made, we're going to go in and we're going to change the color. And we want to make that one a gray. And the first one, we want to make black. Actually, we want to make it a little lighter than that. It's a little too black. There we go. So depending on what your brand colors are and what your logo is, you can change these to all different kinds of colors. I mean, say your logo is like a blue. You can come in here to the fill icon, you can come down here to custom, and then you can enter the hex code of whatever color that you want, and it'll automatically update it. And then once it's in there, once it's in the system, you can come back to the fill icon and it'll be down here under custom, already preloaded, so you can continuously use it over and over and over again. But for this, we're just going to keep it simple and go with a gray and a black. Just keep it real simple. We're actually going to make this a little bit smaller, and then we're going to move both these up a little bit so we have a little bit of room. There we go. Alright, so now that we have our header where we want, and we think it looks pretty good, we're going to do something a little bit extra on it. So if we select the first gray box that we created, and then we hold down Control and we select the second gray box, you can right click on those and come down to the bottom to Format Options. Select Format Options, and then over on the right hand side you're going to see a little checkbox here that says Drop Shadow. We're going to want to go ahead and select Drop Shadow, and it's going to add a little bit of a drop shadow to both of those boxes. It makes it pop off the screen a little bit more, makes it look a little bit more professional, a little bit more clean. So now that we have our header in, we are going to insert a logo. So if you come up to the top, the fourth option over is Insert. So we're going to want to go Insert, Image, Upload from Computer. Alright, so now that we have the logo that we want, we can select it and open it into our presentation. And now we're going to shrink it down and we're going to put it right up here in our header. Boom. It can be a smidge bigger. Boom. So there's our logo right up there in the header. And that's pretty much wraps up our header. We're keeping it really simple for this example, but simple is always clean, simple is always professional. And keeping things really simple and really clean and really professional helps get your business's point across much faster. It helps people read it easier. It helps people's eyes go to the correct spots to see the right value props. Keeping it simple and not over designing something is really key to getting your sales and your marketing collateral seen by a lot of people and getting a lot of prospects to engage with it. So now that we have our header all wrapped up, it's time to add that power statement that we were talking about. This could be a mission statement or any one-liner that you think sums up your business in just one sentence. As few words as possible and portrays the best vision of your business to your prospect. And since we left some white space over here on the right part of our page next to our logo, we're going to put that statement right over here. We're going to try to keep it just so it's all clean and in kind of a block format. We're going to try to keep it about the same height as our header rectangle there. So now that we added a text box, which I'll show you how to add a text box here. So up in the top action bar, there's a little T with a square around it, and if you hover over it, it'll say text box. You're going to want to click that, and if you come over here and then drag it at the same height as your header rectangle, it'll insert a text box. So we're just going to put, you know, our company. We'll just put some random copy in here. So now that we have some basic copy in there as our mission statement or our one-liner, this isn't the right font. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the font. Right now it's an Arial font. We're going to select the drop down and we're going to change it to a font called Poppins. Great. So we switched it over, and now it's a little small, so we want to blow it up a little bit. Currently it's 14-point font, but we want to make it a little bit bigger, so we're going to kick it up to 18-point font. We're going to move this over a little bit. And so now we see how that's about the right font size that we want, but it's kind of stacked a little weird and it's formatted a little weird. There's a couple of big words in there that cause it to do that. And so what we want to do now that it's not formatted the way we want, is we're going to select our logo. We're going to select the black rectangle behind it and hold Control while doing that. And we're going to tap it over a little bit with the left arrow. So if we tap it over a little bit, it still looks good, still has that kind of same design look that we're going for, but it gives us a little bit more room over here. This is just one example how you can take your initial design and play with it a little bit to get it to look the way you want it to look. And so this mission statement over here on the right hand side is still a little wonky. We never want to leave just one word out there all by its lonesome. So what we want to do is we want to take this from an 18-point font, and we're going to come up here and manually enter 16-point font, so it's a little bit smaller. And then we're just going to drag this down so it's in the dead center of that rectangle. A little bit further, boom. There we go. And there we have our header, our logo in our header, our value statement off to the right hand side of that. And next up, we're going to add a couple of more graphics, a couple more value props, and we're going to start piecing this thing together.